Bonjour, y'all, and welcome to the first episode of Cooking with Mr. Robin. I am Robin Howeller of the Cosmic City blog. And for the past 10 years or so, I've been working with a friend of mine to develop and replicate a lot of the recipes of a local barbecue restaurant that started here in Northwest Oklahoma called the Rib Ranch. It started by the Van Ostrin family back in 1967 or so, and was enormously popular. They expanded the restaurants out to Guymon, Altus, and Shawnee, Oklahoma. The restaurant closed down in the mid-90s, and the recipes were closely held family secrets. But over time, my friend and I have managed to kind of unlock some of those secrets, mostly by taste, trial, and error. And then, a couple of years ago, I had the very good fortune to spend some time talking with Mr. Van Ostrin, who started it all. And although he wouldn't give me his recipes, he did give us enough hints that we realized where we were going wrong and were able to do some course corrections. So here in episode 1, we're going to start with the very basics of any barbecue meal. Cowboy beans, sometimes called ranch beans, sometimes called barbecue beans. But it's real easy to do, doesn't require a lot of fuss or labor, and they're pretty tasty. Now, for those of you who are probably thinking, great, a pot of beans, what am I going to do with that? You can do a lot. And if you'll stick with me until the end of this video, I'll show you how you can turn just a pot of beans into an entire meal. Now, for today, we're going to be using a crock pot to cook our beans. You can do it the old-fashioned way. Soak the beans overnight, and then you're going to boil them and simmer them for about 3 to 4 hours. With the crock pot, though, it's no fuss, no muss. You just drop everything into the crock pot, start it on high for 2 hours, then turn it down to low for 6, and when you're done, you've got bean fun. Alright, so let's get started. First, you're going to need a pound of pinto beans, dry pinto beans. Just dump them into your pot. Over the top of that, you're going to add, and by the way, be sure to rinse, I used a colander there, be sure to rinse the beans. It washes any dirt and debris, and go through and kind of pick out the stones if there are any, or bad looking beans. You'll spot them, they're all wrinkled. And then we're going to add 6 cups of water to that, and it's real important that you do that before you get too far along, because it helps you identify floaters in the beans. You don't want floaters in your beans. So when the floaters come to the top, just scoop them out and get rid of them. Okay, to that, we're going to be adding a half an onion. I use a little bit more because I just like the onion flavor. So I use about 2/3 of an onion, and I'll show you what to do with that other third of an onion later. But 2/3 of an onion, chopped up pretty finely. And then you're going to take about a cup of raw bacon. That works out to maybe 3, possibly 4, depending on how the bacon you use was cut. 3 or 4 strips. You just drop all that in there. Straight in there. Next, I use about 1½ tablespoons of chili powder. You can use a lot less if you want. I like the taste of the chili powder, so I use a full 1½ tablespoons. But I should warn you that Chili powder is one of those spices that'll definitely get away from you if you're not careful. So we'll just drop that in there. And then you're going to have a teaspoon of black pepper and a half teaspoon of salt. You can adjust the salt to taste. Just drop all that in there. Just like that. Give it all a stir. Now again, if you're doing this the traditional way, where you soak the beans overnight and then boil them and simmer for 3 to 4 hours, you're using the same recipe. It's just a different method. And then let's see. Now here is one of the secrets of rib ranch cooking. Cane's barbecue spice. If you're fortunate enough you're watching this and you live in Oklahoma or down in Texas, chances are you can find this stuff in grocery stores. Cane's company went out of business a long time ago and was bought out by Farmer Brothers, the guys that I think could mostly can coffee, but they do a lot of spices too. And they still issue this stuff under the Cane's name. If you can't find it in the store where you're at, just about any barbecue spice will probably work, or you can go online and find Cane's barbecue spice, I believe on the Walmart website. So we're just going to take this, and there's no measure. You just sprinkle that kind of across the top of the beans. That's all there is to it. In fact, I don't stir it. I'm not even going to stir it. After putting the Cane's barbecue spice in there, roll this, get your vessel, drop it in there. Get a cover on it. Turn it up to high for the first 2 hours. And that's all there is to it. Now you've got 8 hours to go do something. Something in the way she moves. I forgot the other chords. And we're back. 8 hours, beans are done. 2 hours on high, 6 hours on low. Let's see what we got. Smells like beans. So I promised you that I would tell you ways that you could turn this into a meal all by itself. And here is the best way to do that. Here in this part of the world, I have something called beef and beans. So you take a bowl of beans and take some cubed onions, drop on it, and then this. It's actually chopped up sliced brisket. Now, rib ranch, people thought they used brisket, but they didn't really. They were using a round roast. Mr. Van Osteren told me that there was too much waste in the brisket and that it was too expensive to use. So that's what he would use. Just little cubed beef. I bought the brisket because I was able to get a small sliced piece of brisket at the store. To top all this off, whether you do beef and beans or just onions on top of the beans, or even if you're serving beans as a side dish for the rest of your barbecue, you always want to have some of this on hand. This is a vinegar-based barbecue sauce. Just squirt a little of that on there and mix it up and you're ready to go. And that is all there is to making ranch-style beans. So until next time, this is Robin Howeller from the Cosmic City blog. Eat well. Something, something, something in the way she moves. Okay, there we go. Something in the way she moves. Something in the way she moves. Something in the way she Something in the way she moves. Something in the way she moves. Something in the way she moves. There we go. Something in the way she moves. Ah, shit, I forgot the other chords.